Well, The Odyssey is out there, and it's pretty great. I mean, a movie's a movie. All art is subjective. Not everybody's going to love it. Nothing wrong with that. If you went to go see it and it didn't work for you, absolutely cool. But almost everybody did love it. The question now becomes, were people going to go out to see it? And well, according to Variety, we now have the answer to that. The Odyssey box office is now the biggest opening preview night of the year. The Odyssey kicks off with an epic $17.6 million in previews. Of course, previews are the things that happen on Thursday night, right? Now, we knew that the Odyssey was already selling tickets for their 70 millimeter IMAX and only their 70 millimeter IMAX like a year in advance. So those tickets were out there, but that's only going to give you $2 or $3 million. So according to these reports, check this out as we now put this into perspective. The Odyssey is now the biggest preview night of the year, passing Toy Story 5, which made $17.5 million on its preview night, Michael, which made $12.6 million on its preview night, Project Hail Mary, which made 12, and Star Wars: The Mandalorian and Grogu, which tied it at $12 million. What is also interesting is how it broke down with formats. The premium formats, that's IMAX, that's all premium large format PLF. So that includes Screen X, and I believe they include Dolby, and it includes like what all theaters have their own brand name for their larger than normal format. That made up 52% for PLF, 70 millimeter, and regular IMAX, all combined made up 52% of the box office. And again, if you go over and look at it, of that 52%, IMAX 70 millimeter was only a small portion of it. PLF was a bigger portion, and just regular, some people call Limax, made up the majority of that money that people went to go see too. So people wanted to see this on the biggest screen possible, and they ran out to go see it. And again, as we take a look at this, we're looking at bigger, and just to put this in perspective, Toy Story with 17.5 million in previews went on to make $156 million on its opening weekend, which still stands as the biggest opening weekend of the year. Now, just to be clear, just because the Odyssey had bigger preview numbers, that does absolutely not mean that its overall opening weekend is going to be Toy Story 5 numbers when all the parents are not taking their kids late Thursday night to go see it. They're taking them, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, all that kind of stuff. It's not going to make 150. But I'll tell you what it does do, Chris, is that remember the initial projections for an opening weekend of the Odyssey was $80 to $90 million, which would have been on par with or even bigger than Oppenheimer, which nearly made $1 billion.
Yeah.
We just talked on the show the other day that those projections have now gone up for 90 to 100, which would mean it's the biggest opening of Christopher Nolan's career with a movie other than Batman. But now I can't see this making under 100 million now for its opening weekend. I just don't see it getting under 100 million. The word of mouth about this movie is off the charts. People are excited. Again, I don't think it's not going to be Toy Story. I don't think it's going to be 130 million. I don't think it's going to be 140 million, but I think it's going to break that 100 million barrier. Anyway, Chris, you saw these numbers. Are you surprised by these preview numbers? Do you extrapolate or have any idea or guess about how big the opening weekend can ultimately be, and what's driving all these people to going to see this movie?
No, I think it's spectacle and a promise of something truly, I hopefully good that you're gonna see. And the thing that I was really kind of happy with and seeing Variety, I think, put out an article saying that I think this year they're on track for the movie year to cross 10 billion, and that would be the first time since 2019 pandemic numbers. And it's nice to see that theaters are thriving, because every year we kind of have that conversation about whether people even want to go to the movies or not. And this has been really a pretty good year of people showing up for movies that promise something to immerse you in, to get you excited for this one. It's also just cool for Christopher Nolan to see, and the household name he is and the excitement he brings to the theater. I actually would not be surprised if it comes close to that Toy Story, at least domestically.
Really? So
I
you're thinking like sky high numbers for
I
this
don't
thing.
know. Maybe its runtime will work against it in that aspect, but especially with the premium formats and the way that has been sold out. But I guess that's also, there's only a limited amount of supply of those premium theaters that they can go to help out those numbers. But I just see it, and I'm happy for cinema.
You know, it's funny.
You know what?
Go ahead, Jonathan.
At first I thought, I think he's got this shirtless man on his mind too much here. But well, I looked at Oppenheimer. That's 330 million domestic. I don't think Chris is that far off, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking, can it get Toy Story numbers on opening weekend? Which is, I mean, I'm not going to be in the doubting Christopher Nolan business. I'm just not. I mean, it does seem like a really big number, but you know, Jonathan, that does bring up another thing. Is that I was playing poker the other night, and it was a good night. I won like 7,000 that night. It was pretty good. Anyway,
it's a very good night. Yeah,
it was a good night. It was a good night. I'm not going to lie. I was able to go and pay like 2.5 months of mortgage just from what I won the other night. But I was talking to this random guy who watched the channel, knew who I was, and we started talking about movie stuff. He goes, you know, I'm going to go see the Odyssey this weekend. I'm like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. He said, but I wanted to see it in IMAX. But my IMAX theater where I live, remember, we're talking 70 millimeter, near where I live, it's booked for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He said, granted, I was trying to get a thing for me, my wife, and my buddy, 3 tickets, and I couldn't find a screening for like the next week and a half or more with 3 seats together that weren't up in the front row. So, Jonathan, I know we were talking beforehand, like you were planning on waiting to see it on large premium format. Like, what is it, do you think, about what looks like the Odyssey that makes a lot of people feel like this has to be seen in IMAX or one of the PLF formats? What do you think?
I think it's 100% the fact that Nolan went to the trouble of filming this entire movie in IMAX and on IMAX 70 millimeter, film. So people are, I don't have any other word than respect for the movie. That people are like, we need to see this in what this man and what this cast and this crew intended and put forth. I mean, this was a huge undertaking. I just don't see it as any other reason. I think if this movie was like Dune or Oppenheimer or many of these other films where it's like there's IMAX scenes, like there's action scenes that are cool, 70, people are like, yeah, whatever. Then I'll just go see it. Like, but the fact that this is kind of historic, it is historic. People are like, I'm gonna wait. I mean, like my kids, we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
You know, I may end up seeing my first viewing in like Dolby or the single laser IMAX and then see it a second time with them, but they're willing to wait for week 3 to see it in the 70 millimeter, full IMAX aspect ratio. So
all right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? I mean, look, I don't think it's an apples to apples 1-to-1 ratio comparison with Toy Story, or that it'll have 150 million plus opening weekend. But I mean, it just beat out Toy Story. That was the biggest preview night at the box office. Now it's the Odyssey. I'm feeling pretty comfortable this is going to beat that $100 million expectation to by far be the biggest Christopher Nolan opening weekend of his career. That isn't a Batman movie, but Chris thinks that maybe it can get to those Toy Story numbers. We'll see. Whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Look, guys, we talk about mental health a lot around here and a lot more openly these days, but actually raising your hand and asking for help, it can still feel incredibly hard. I mean, we wouldn't hesitate to tell a friend it's good to talk to somebody, but society still makes us think twice when it's our turn. BetterHelp is working to bridge that gap. They are the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally with a network of over 30,000 fully licensed, high-quality therapists who work under a strict code of of conduct. And the bottom line is that the data shows it works, holding an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp handles the initial matching work for you through a short questionnaire tailored to your needs and preferences. Plus, their industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they usually get it right the first time, but if you ever want to switch, you can do so at any time. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea.